What's up, ninjas? So I recently had the pleasure of mastering a track for my good friend Nico Fallas, who just got to perform at Ultra Guatemala. Felicidades, congratulations to you, brother. If you guys want to follow him as a thank you for allowing me to use the master I did for his track for educational content, then please do so. And if you guys like any of the plugins here, you can find them over on Plugin Boutique. I have an affiliate link in the description. Pluginomics, let the little man get a little trickle. 10 cents for that plugin stuff, you're gonna get it. Okay, when it comes to mastering, guys, mastering is the polish of a song. We're pretty much getting the track to where it needs to be in terms of loudness for wherever we're gonna place it. Nowadays, that's putting it on Spotify, YouTube, Beatport, etc. So a lot of times we're just trying to get it as loud as possible without sacrificing the quality. But here's one thing that people fail to realize with mastering, and that is mastering is also a second, a third opinion. You pay a mastering engineer, you have another set of ears that has never heard the song before, and they can be a little bit more upfront with you if the clap is buried or the open hat is buried or if the vocals are out of tune, or it's something amicable that you only get with a human at the time. Maybe robots will be able to do it later on. First thing in my chain is actually going to be a saturator that I've added here. And the funny thing about it is that I'm using these settings, the soft side 100% and 0.84 here, to save $150 because this settings is literally the Sonox inflator in the flesh. Like it literally is, bro. And the funny thing about it is that there's a YouTuber and he proves that that saturator setting right there is literally the Sonox inflator in the flesh. Cool, so that's going to be saturating the track and that's going to sound like this. I'm going to gain stage it down a bit. It's like a magic lift that occurs. And the key thing here is again, we're getting perceived loudness, which means the volume's staying the same in Ableton, but to our human ears, it sounds louder. So that's why Sonox's inflator was always highly looked upon until people said, oh my God, Ableton soft sign, there it is, bro. From here, the next thing I'm using is an Ozone Imager, which I would have placed right there. And this one, I'm just looking to accentuate parts of a track. I usually find myself boosting the mids up a bit more and the highs as well, but you can also decide to go down. But what I'm doing with this is pretty much trying to accentuate, trying to spread the image out to make it feel a little bit more immersive. I have another Ozone Imager later on in the chain, which I'm also going to move here, that turns on, that's specifically for the break, and you're going to see why. But with the Ozone Imager, all I'm doing is listening to bands. And for instance here, I want the bass, the top part of the bass to be a little wider because it's one of the key features of the song. He added a layer on top of his sub that is punchy, and I wanted that to protrude more. So when you widen stuff, it sounds louder to the human ear as well. Without it. So with Ozone Imager, I'm always looking at accentuating something in the song. So again, I could have also gone with the highs and brought them all the way down. You can also do this and it sounds pretty good. So I'm actually going to put that there now in another revision. But as I put this up, the sides just get louder, pretty much. That's what's occurring. And again, finding the balance in the song. My goal is to make the song make me want to do that. It's as simple as that, bro. You just want to move the head no matter how you get to it. From there, we're going to go to one of my favorite plugins of all time, and that is going to be the BassRoom plugin. Now, I personally have used this for some time, and I always recommend it to you guys. And as you guys know, I don't do sponsored content on here. Everything I recommend is always stuff that I actually use and that I value, that I paid with my own money. So what I can do is go, like, for instance, house and commercial and then hit play. And what BassRoom is going to do, it's going to give me targets to hit. Now, usually what I like to do is I like to go and look at different ones as I'm doing this because, again, sometimes I want to find like a median between all the targets. For instance, here, this one's saying it's fine. We can boost some of this, bring this down, bring this all the way down, bring this here, bring this, make it up. I don't personally like this, so I'm gonna go back to the other one, which was the commercial one. Now, again, you can also add your own references by creating targets like so, and highlighting what part you want BassRoom to focus on. And there we go. We have this new one. Now, I agree with this. This track was lacking a lot of sub. And usually with a lot of tech house producers, sub is lacking. I don't know what they're on. I think the cocaine is getting to them or something. But yeah, I always have to boost the sub by 6 dB for some reason. Love you, Nico. And then we're going to bring this up to it. Like so. And look at that. Bring the volume down. Off. You know, there's a huge difference with BassRoom, and I recommend it to people. Again, one last warning, it's not going to solve your life. It's not a magic pill. It's just an amazing tool that I cannot recommend enough. From there, we utilize my new EQ. Now, I did get this one for free because Native Instruments reached out to me, and they were offering like their whole line and stuff, and I wanted to check this guy out, so I decided to use it. Now, the reason that I decided to use AMEK was because when it comes to mastering, you're adding taste to a song. So as I'm hearing the song, you know, I'm going to clean it, but I'm also going to boost to accentuate certain parts of it. So as I was listening to this song, I felt like the clap was weak, like really weak, like anorexic weak. So with this guy, as I turn on the auto list and I'm scouring what I want to boost, that seems like the body part of a clap. So that's overdone doing it, but now we can kind of ease up. Now, as I do this, this is where mixing might come into play, because I actually told Nico, hey, you got to make your vocal 1 dB louder, and your clap has to come up more because it was buried in the song. And this is where, again, the mastering side of the feedback comes into play, which is very strong, which you won't get from Lander. You won't get from Phil Spencer's future mixing AI motherfucking thing. We do that. From there, we add a bit of air using a shelf. And adding air is like the way you impress anybody with your mastering skills, because when you add air to a song, it instantly sounds crispy, you know, like a nice beard. And everyone's like, what did you do? I'm like, I ain't gonna tell you that, but you just boosted the highs. But again, too much of it will thin out your song, because at the end of the day, a high shelf is literally think about it in the other way. A high shelf is you reducing all of the mids, the lows. So pretty much this is the high shelf. But now if you do the opposite of that, it's the same as doing this. And this is a good way of putting it. It's the same as doing this. So you're literally, if you boost a lot, you're doing this to your song, bro. Does that look right? Oh, so you got to take it easy. You know, mastering and mixing, it's all about control. You could do it, but again, you control you. You know, not everyone's deaf yet, like you, dog. So let's be kind with it. From there, I used the corrective EQ known as GoFoss. Again, I put it here in the signal flow, the way stuff is going, because I want to do all of these things where I'm adding in order for this to just grab the remaining stuff. Put the tame, it's as simple as that. From there, I made a video about this compressor, which I used for one of my songs called Lay It On Me. I was horny at the time, but anyways, it's known to be the API 2500. And again, don't worry about that. That's just like old man talk there. But it's a compressor that gives a lot of knock. And you know, for Nico's track, I was like, you know what? I'm going to make this track knock. Now, the way I make it knock is the kick is dictating the compressor. I'm going to go with a hard knee or medium knee. That just means that the compression, it needs to be hit. It's almost like instant instead of gradually added on. But with a hard knee, we just go ham. Look at that. It makes you want to do this. Yeah, no homo. But you know what I mean? Like, it's just good, bro. Like, you wanna do this with your head. from there, we use a clipper, and I'm using the Black Salt clipper because the Casrock K-Clip 3, I don't know, that thing just looks fucking, I don't like it, man. It's it's always like, what are you telling me? I mean, it gives me a visual, which is dope to teach what we're gonna do. But I can never get it sounding too good. I prefer this, just keeping things simple, life simple, happy wife, you know? So what I'm doing is I'm shaving off the peaks with this guy. What I want you to look is at the waveform here. Notice how when the clap hits, it's actually brought down a lot. And I'm going to overdo it a bit. So we're going to turn it off. And I just want you to look at the waveform. Let's zoom in a little. Here's the clap. Clap, clap, right? So keep that image in your head. Now let's go with this. Notice how the clap doesn't peak out like a... And I can keep going down and down till I squish the wave. So whenever someone asks, how do you get your track to look squished? Well, first off, there's more to it than just this, but this is one of the key ingredients you need to get that look to the track because you don't have any peaks happening, so you don't have a lot of dynamics in essence. From there, I put the EDM aggressive and tight preset, and it sounded good to me, so I was like, why not? So we have the clipper going to catch peaks, and now we're getting the last remaining loudness with the Pro L2. Now, key thing to keep in mind with the limiter is that once you go above negative 2 dB of gain reduction, you're actually sacrificing quality, okay, for loudness, okay? And you have to keep that in mind. So if you can use a clipper to get closer to where you want to go, that is better, and then you finish it off with a limiter. So we're at negative 6.5. Whoopale. And the last thing is I usually do a 1-to-1 because I want to make sure that I'm hearing the limiting at the same volume. Look at that. Now we get rid of it. Booyah! So there was one last thing after I did all this that I wanted to solve because I told Nico about it and he just didn't manage to reach my expectations with it. But I did find a cure or like a solution to it. And I also got my wife in the studio and told her which one sounds better because I feel the untrained ears can tell you a lot. So I decided to go in with this weird looking Ozone 11 Imager, which is doing stuff you shouldn't do. But again, this is in the break, and the goal was to open up the break to create contrast in Nico's song because the drop sounds very like, But then when we get into the break, I want it to sound big, open, lush, you know? So it's in a switch. And you don't hear it. You don't hear the switch. With it off. On. Off. On. What's inside mine. We switched out of it. Now we're back to the other one. With it off, with it on. So yeah, we have a very aggressive stereo spread. Literally, like I would even consider it like, you know, not. It's. I don't think the law would approve of what we've done. The spread we did. But again, it sounds good, and that's the important thing. A lot of times we learn theory, and that theory is there to protect us from ourselves. But once you get to a level where like you're confident in your ears, then if that sounds good, that sounds good. So again, I just wanted to spread open that break for Nico. I felt it was needed, and it literally elevated the song to another level, in my opinion. Okay, and again, that's why he's paying me for my opinion. So from there, the last thing I want to add is, of course, when it comes to the track, I'm making the breaks quieter by reducing the gain on the limiter. You can see it occurring here to here, slowly increasing, then a big jump again back. I also, this is stable. Back down, up to a certain spot, then a big jump back to 8.06, etc. Sometimes I'll make certain parts of the track louder. It just depends on the song, the genre as well. But yeah, it's very simple to master if you think about it. I didn't explain a lot of the process, like saturation, what it is. I'm going to assume and give you guys the benefit of the doubt that you know what all this stuff is already, and you're just looking for ideas on what you can use. But if you want a more detailed video, I did create another video where I mastered my song, Can I Ask You? And that one also utilizes a lot of these plugins, and I go more into depth into them. As always, guys, if you enjoyed the video, consider supporting my sound design work over at evilsounds.com. Go follow Nico. Give him a thanks for allowing me to use his song as an educational tool. I don't know if when this song is going to be out, but it's a sick song. It has a good vocal on it, and I really enjoyed mastering it for him. So make sure to check out that video on Can I Ask You on how I mastered the song. You can check it out on Spotify. And much love.